Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to this week's very special edition of the Hare Krishna Project podcast. This is episode number 93. And as you will find out very shortly, this is a special edition, as I've mentioned, and it's actually our second world exclusive. Normally what happens when a guest comes on this show, we joke around a bit. I ask the guest questions about themselves, where are they from? But this is very different in terms of the layout of this week's podcast, because actually we're going to be not knowing a lot about the guest at all. And we're going to be talking a lot about the actual topic that we are presenting to you today. So just very briefly in summary, we're talking about this topic of black magic in ISKCON. We're going to be exploring in this podcast what black magic is, its connections to ISKCON, or in ISKCON. We're going to be giving some examples of communities within ISKCON who practice black magic. And also we'll be looking at the history of the link between black magic and ISKCON. And finally, we'll be looking at what you can do to protect yourself if you've been the victim of black magic, or you think or feel you've been the victim of black magic. The second thing to say is this is the first time ever I've ever done this, and I will not be revealing the identity of the guest for obvious reasons. This is a very sensitive topic, and it's a topic that will attract a lot of attention. And it's important that our guest, who, what can I say, is obviously the guest, because the guest knows a lot about this particular topic. It's important that our guest's identity, for obvious reasons, is kept a secret or anonymous. So let's start with the first question for our guest. What is black magic?
Hare Krishna, thank you very much for having us on here today. This format reminds me of those documentaries on TV where a guest being interviewed is like in a shadow, lights behind them, voice is disguised. So there are reasons for that. And we also have these reasons here because we are having our own enemies who do not want this kind of information to be revealed. So to answer your question, what is black magic? Now, black magic has existed as long as humans have existed. It is stated when entities were created by Lord Brahma in Vedas and Puranas and Bhagavatam, that also all the arts, sciences, human knowledge, technology, all these things were created. So various types of magic were also created for the benefit of human beings. Now, because demons were also created, isn't it in Bhagavatam, the sons of Diti, all those demons are created. So they also have their own systems of doing magical formulas, doing yantras, tantras, mantras, all of these things to achieve certain results. Now, usually the demons, they want to use these black arts to get things. They want to get money, possessions, followers, sex, of course. They want to get. Now, the other side of these black arts is to put things out there, negative energy for harming their enemies. Usually the enemies that are demons is the devotees. So this scenario has been happening ever since the beginning of creation, all the way down to the current moment in 2023. So that's what is black magic. It is the art and science of doing dastardly deeds for getting things and harming others. And there are many goals, different types of spells for doing different things for achieving all of these objectives. So that, in a nutshell, that is black magic.
Okay, how long has there been a connection between black magic and ISKCON, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness?
Well, just before that, because we mentioned that the black magic has always existed, let's look at the Earth situation in all different countries. Most different countries have an old systems of black magic, such as the famous voodoo in Africa. South America has Santeria, and there's Malaysian, Thai, Bali, and of course India is no exception. Russia, there's wizards, warlocks, and witches doing different things. Ukraine, pretty much every country has got some kind of black magic because of these old languages and different kind of spells and different types of things have developed. So because every culture on Earth has black magic system, now an ISKCON takes birth. So, because human beings are attracted to the movement, they bring their interests with them. For example, perhaps a musical person becomes a musical devotee, learns kartal, learns mridanga, harmonium, and artistic devotee takes up devotional artwork. So also persons with black magic background, they bring it to ISKCON. So the history of black magic in ISKCON is probably almost since the beginning of ISKCON. I would not say probably the 1960s. First devotees of Srila Prabhupada, they probably were naive in this respect. They were just regular, New York City persons, hippies, maybe reading some books from Eastern mysticism, but probably not black magic. They might have had some the Western satanic type thing. Somebody may have known something about that because they're reading everything. Some were college educated, reading many different things. So, but really, we don't have a deep history in ISKCON black magic until Mayapur was established. 1971, I'm thinking that devotees first went there to make Mayapur Chandradoya Mandir, where we are actually very close to that location right now. So Mayapur Chandradoya Mandir, when they first started making local devotees, 1971 and beyond, maybe it was before that. You could see history. So who is joining? Who joins in Mayapur besides Western devotees who are making temple for Prabhupada? The local Bengali boys. For now, Mayapur Chandradoya Mandir is surrounded by many Muslim villages. So these Muslim boys were attracted, coming to the Western sannyasis who are creating Mayapur. And so they're joining. And what are they bringing with them? They're coming from Muslim village. So they have Muslim tantric, multi-generational system happening in the villages of Bengal. Very ancient system, black magic. So these young boys, they brought this stuff with them. So ambitious leaders in Mayapur understood this after some bit that, these boys have brought this ancient art. We could use this. Maybe we can get properties, followers. We can get these things, and we could also do curses against our enemies. Anybody who tries to interfere with what we're trying to establish here in Mayapur. We can cut them down, give them mysterious diseases, or make chaos in their life. These kind of things can happen. So the history in ISKCON that we are most familiar with is from the ISKCON Mayapur that has developed what we would call a tantric nest, or the black magic department, or something like that. So where you have all those persons who know about those things, and the authorities above them who control what they're going to do next, to whom, and those kind of things. And that has spread from Mayapur out to other areas of India and the world. Now, the Mayapur system is most highly developed because it's been in ISKCON the longest. We have reports from devotees in Malaysia, Singapore. There's black magic going on there in that temple. I have the names of the persons, so I think we're not naming names today. But the Singapore has a very highly developed black magic program for getting power and punishing nice devotees who know too much. I have firsthand accounts from ISKCON Fiji. Fiji has also black magic system because they're, I think they're mostly Indians, aren't they, Fiji? So they brought some kind of system. I don't know it is a North Indian or South Indian system, but they brought it to Fiji. So Fijian devotees have reported to me that they have envious devotee neighbors, want to acquire their property, and this and that, or want to mess up their family life, or somebody is revealing too much corruption in ISKCON, so they get punished by tantric curses. So that's happening in Fiji also. We got reports firsthand from Puerto Rico, near the U.S. Is it part of U.S.? Is it a separate country? I don't know. Puerto Rico. They also, one devotee, several devotees told me that they had local black magic ladies that were trying to steal brahmacharis, and they got brahmachari to their apartment. So devotees went, oh, we have to go rescue so-and-so Prabhu. And they went in there, and there's all these typical things, black pentagrams and strange things written on the ceiling, and feeding the devotees some cursed food so that they would become enchanted with these ladies. And so we have a Puerto Rican system. Maybe it's Santaria from South America. I don't know all those details. So those are just a few locations. And ISKCON Russia, there's also famous story you find online that remember when they were punishing Russian government, punishing devotee? So they captured devotee. They said, we will break his will. Bring in the witch. You can find the story. Look online. The story is amazing. So they brought witch. She's going to curse devotee and make him give up Hare Krishna. So this lady goes in trance. She spits out her nasty mantra, and then suddenly she stops. The witch says, I'm not doing this. Let me out of here. So KGB, they say, well, what are you doing? You're supposed to curse the Hare Krishna. She said, I went into trance. And I tried to curse this person, and then an old man was standing there, wagging his finger at me. Don't you dare do anything to this devotee. So that was Russian witch. She apparently met Srila Prabhupada in trance. So that's also shows us that Russian also has witches, warlocks, black magic, curses, all these kind of things. So you see how all these countries I've named: India, Malaysia, Puerto Rico, South America, Ukraine, Russia, and so that's the history of black magic is everywhere. But the one we're concerned the most that affects ISKCON devotees most is Bengali system and Bengali persons. Bengali, if we can learn red flags, how to recognize tantrics and predators. Here's the word predator. Usually tantrics are also predators. What we find is because they start as narcissists. They're self-centered. Then they become sociopaths by wanting to control others and always be the boss, give the orders, want to set themselves up with what do you call pratishtha, my position, I position. What are those three things? Love, puja, pratishtha, acquisition, worship of me, and establishing my position, pratishtha. So these kind of persons in Mayapur, we see them almost every day. We know who they are. Some of them know who some of our group is, who know these things, and some of us are still secretly hiding, because that's why we're doing this type of interview today. We have whole group. Our group is MPITA, and Mayapur Predator Investigation Team Alliance, MPITA. So we have alliance. It's called alliance because we have connection. Many different devotees around the world are observing the different predators, not just for Mayapur, for other Indian temple. Also, we watch temple cams from different temples. We observe many different predators in different ISKCON centers, predators and tantrics. Like I said, usually they're the same person. we do have predators who are only predators, predators of children, predators of women, predators of men also. But they may or may not be tantrics, but frequently the tantrics are also predators. They use their black arts to mystify their victims and also the families of victims so that they can escape. They keep escaping. Now we have the most famous predators in Mayapur have been kicked out. Some of them are back managing the TOVP. You all know who they are. They have come back. But some of I'll just say one name. The Bhavananda pedophile cartel was the most infamous, that had the most predators in one place. They had all those other persons you know about. Okay, we'll name some. You got Bhavananda, Chaitanya, Nitai Chand, and some who got away without persecution was Venkat Bhatt. He escaped. Nobody wrote much about him. He wasn't taken to task by CPO. But Venkat, also Hiranyagarbha, another child abuser. He resurfaced as Jagadananda or Jagat, this Vrindavan Babaji, pretentious Sanskrit type person. So they were also in the Bhavananda pedophile cartel. And there's also USA, Alachua, there's big Bengali predator there. Also started as disciple of Bhavananda and molesting underage Western Gurukuli girls. And also underage Indian girls. We have all those testimonies, so many details we're having. So the one in Alachua, he was involved in the pedophile cartel, but he escaped. No persecution. Nobody's capturing these people. They prance and posture and pose in front of devotees in temples around the world. Everybody thinks they're wonderful. That is why in our MPITA, Mayapur Predator Investigation Team Alliance, we call them the popular predators. And this even goes up to swamis and gurus. We have, just like the Mayapur Swami, he was kicked out last spring 2023. Mayapur Swami finally got kicked out. So he's a popular predator. How popular? Oh, so many swamis posing with him. How many photos? Swamis, gurus, temple presidents. Everybody loves Mayapur Swami. This photo, that photo, this photo, smiling, doing yajna, doing kirtan, giving class. Popular predators for 40 years.
The Swami that was recently kicked out of Mayapur, was he or is he involved with black magic?
Oh, yeah, they're all mixed in it together. Some devotees walked in on secret fire sacrifices being done by these characters. Secret fire sacrifice, and then the Swami's doing sacrifice. They look at devotee, accidental intruder. What are you doing here? Get out. This is private event. So those kind of things, yeah. So of course, the Mayapur Swami, he knew all about these things. They're all buddies. They're all in the same thing together. They all know everything. That's why when Mayapur Swami was kicked out to spring 2023, his other big Swami friends, oh, we didn't know anything about all that stuff happening. Oh, we're his friend and everything. We did not know, which is totally ridiculous because even us little devotees, we knew. We've known for decades. So how could big devotee not know? So we were thinking with the Predator Investigation Team Alliance, we're looking to hold all of these people accountable, all the ones who are in the network of the popular predators. They're all culpable. They're not going to get away with this. They think they're getting away, but the laws of nature know otherwise.
So black magic has been a part of ISKCON in different ways since almost the beginning, in terms of, 1971 was only 5 years after ISKCON was established. So the next, I've just realized the next question is actually kind of similar to the last one in terms of, can you tell us a bit about the history of black magic being practiced in ISKCON? And I feel like you've kind of answered that already.
Yes, but I thought of another detail. When I
Yeah.
told you it was established in 1971, we have one famous saint who left his body, Vishnu John Swami. He knew about black magic because in 1973, he mentioned it. So just 2 years after Mayapur officially got into the practice, Vishnu John knew about it because by 73, it had already spread to New Vrindavan. Vishnu John knew about that. Now, what happened was his Radha Damodar school bus, it burned down on the side of the road in a Texas town. Is that a town or a state? United States, one state is Texas, I think. So there's a burn mark on the side of the road where Vishnu John Swami bus has burned down. So Vishnu John, he spoke confidentially to devotees, and we have those testimonies. He said, "This is by black magic, and I am going to New Vrindavan to confront a big demon about it." So who is he talking about? Who knew black magic in New Vrindavan? Were they doing the Western, satanic devil worship type? Or were they doing the Indian type? Because at that time in New Vrindavan, they had one Indian, not Indian, they had American devotee who had studied the Indian black magic in India for many years before he met Srila Prabhupada. Then he met Prabhupada, became a devotee, went to New Vrindavan, and of course brought his practices with him. He wrote a book and says he studied all these black arts with the terrible sadhus called the Aghoris. So they know all these black arts. So this person studied that in India, then became devotee, then went to New Vrindavan, then Keith Ham. Kirtananda, he's like, we can use your abilities. You've studied these things. So that's why Vishnu John said, I am going to New Vrindavan to confront a big demon. And now we're still researching. We have not found what happened with Vishnu John when he went to New Vrindavan. Because when he went there, what happened was Kirtananda Swami, big predator himself, he went to India at that time and left Vishnu John in charge of New Vrindavan for several months. So whatever happened there, who did Vishnu John confront? We still need to find some details.
And is it possible for your team to obtain that information? Because that was 50 years ago. I mean, are you able to discover who he did go and meet?
Oh, well, more and more interviews are being done. Some devotees are still working on Vishnu John biographies, and they're meeting different people that are very obscure and hard to find, because the researchers are very determined. They're very young and have energy, so they're finding different persons who know more and more stories. That's how they found the story of Vishnu John. He knew black magic from New Vrindavan. So that information came from finding testimonies from obscure persons who were there, but have since disappeared from mainstream ISKCON. So as time goes on, more things are revealed, more stories, more victims come forward. We're receiving more and more testimonies from popular predators, from victims of popular predators. More and more testimonies are coming in. We have many testimonies in writing. We also have personal acquaintance with many victims, but unfortunately, as you can understand, they're traumatized. So they don't want to think or talk about it. But because we made acquaintance with them, they told us their story that we can paraphrase. And so if anybody wants to say, unless we have their testimony in writing and we know who they are, then this is a false allegation. But since we have professionals on our team who are certified with working with abuse victims, there's a certain psychology there that most Hare Krishna devotees, not knowing the psychology of abuse victims, how many of them they stop stuff will happen to them for 30 years before they get some therapy and their memories start coming back. And it's a very complex science dealing with these victims of our popular predators. So, but we're dealing with that and also learning the skills, how to not trigger the victims and how to get the stories from them, and also honoring their secrecy and privacy because they don't want to be attacked anymore. They want to get on with their life, but they had significant experience with popular predators. So we have personal acquaintance with many of the victims. We don't deal with hearsay or rumors. We communicate directly with abuse victims in ISKCON. Even the ones, well, mostly the ones who have not submitted to CPO because the Child Protection Office has such what we call pathetic performance record. There's very few actual persecutions of popular predators. There's a few slaps on the wrist, like Mayapur Swami, teeny tiny little slap on the wrist. Oh, that's pathetic. After how many? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different cover-ups. Story was kept coming out. 1990s story come out, 91, 1999, the 2000s, the Mayapur Swami exposed again and again, swept under the rug again and again. So for this reason, the victims that we are acquainted with, they do not want to submit their testimony. Why should they? It's swept under the rug. The victims are discredited, victim shaming, attacked by the zombie-like followers of the predators. So, as you can understand, victims they don't want to put themselves out front, expose themselves to attack. But we support them. We have our private network. We have some support groups for particular predators victims. And we have our team alliance where we're watching predators on temple camera. We are grabbing screenshots of predators acting suspicious. And main thing is to give moral support to victims, not treating like liars. Even you remember the Turley case, famous Turley case with Gurukuli's abuse. So one of Turley's lawyers, he stated that abuse victims very rarely make up any stories. So even they admitted that there's credibility to victims, and we should stop with victim shaming, stop with thinking that they're not credible or that they're liars, and suppressing, silencing, kicking out victims and supporters of victims, families of victims. This has to stop. That is why we are shining light on these topics today. Black magic and sexual predators, they're in the same category of what we are exposing.
Before we talk in more detail about black magic being practiced in ISKCON today, can you just give us some exact, because for me, black magic sounds like a very broad term. And I guess what I want to do is just kind of throw metaphorically some things to you, and you can tell me whether that's black magic or not. Because I think often people get a few confused between black magic and the occult and lots of different stuff. And I'm from a kind of Christian upbringing where everything that's not Christian is like not good. So just some examples. Is satanic ritual abuse an example of black magic?
No, well, you called it satanic ritual abuse, or SRA. Many devotees do not believe that this is a thing, but anyone can Google it. It's a thing in the non-devotee world. But the first word is S, satanic. So that indicates that there is some demonic devil worshipping element to it. But not all SRA is like truly black magic. A lot of it is just lusty predators who want to do their thing. But they frequently do have this satanic thing, and that also has entered ISKCON too. There's other testimonies of SRA being in ISKCON, and you have interviewed several.
Yeah, at least two victims of satanic ritual abuse I've interviewed.
Yes, most do not want to talk about it. Those two that spoke, they're very brave, and of course being attacked, discredited, called liars. But you know, in forensic crime research, when we observe the character of criminals, that they cannot maintain a very detailed, long testimony of crimes and supposed innocence. They cannot maintain vast amounts of details and be consistent over time. But these are abuse victims and SRA victims, their story doesn't change for years and years. Long, detailed story that no crook or liar could bother to make up or invent or have to memorize. It's ridiculous. So there's different ways of identifying how SRA is also in ISKCON.
Okay, maybe one or two more. So another one would be, what are they called? Tarot cards, tarot readings. Is that black magic?
Straight Christians would say so. Christians have quotes from the Bible, any kind of divination, tarot, palm reading, astrology, all of those things. You know, reading tea leaves, crystal ball. The Christians say that all of that is of the devil and needs to be avoided and destroyed. If you find tarot cards in your closet, burn them. They say this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's why I wanted.
I want to say that it's actually demonic. It is. If you're getting results with some divination thing, yeah, you're probably in tune with some universal energies. You know, demigods or something. You're receiving some insight, like I've got some astrology readings of things in past, and they're very accurate. They know where I've been. They know what's coming, and it happens. So they're in touch with some higher knowledge. I wouldn't call all of it demonic, but some of it can be. That's why you have to be very, very discreet. For example, one astrologer told devotee I know that you will make money in real estate. So devotee gave up temple service, blooped. Remember that term? When someone leaves temple, it is bloop. Prabhupada thought that was an amusing term. So devotee got astrology advice. You will make money in real estate. So blooped, got away from spiritual life, got involved in the material world, didn't even make that much money in real estate. But you see, so that astrology advice could be demonic because it ruins the devotee's spiritual life. So you have to just be careful.
Yeah. Okay. And then I guess just a third and final one. In Hinduism, in which is a made-up Western term, is the worship of Kali black magic.
It can or doesn't have to be, because of the generic Hindu worship of gods. It's more cultural than it is like messing with dark energy. It's like, my grandparents worshipped for Kali Puja. We built one statue. We do some puja. We, ask for the smooth life and the children getting good marks in school, and daddy getting promotion. So Jai Ma, Kali Ma, Durga Ma. So it's kind of innocent. But there is Kali black magic worshippers, such as in Srimad Bhagavatam, his fifth canto. Remember this Jada Bharat story? So the Kali persons wanted to grab him, kill him, offer him to Kali statue. So we all know that story. So I know devotees also where tantric black magic man in India wanted to try to trap devotee in his little hut, and his place had many skulls all around it. So he was going to get killed. Somehow devotee escaped. So there is Kali worshippers that are definitely black magic. They have many spells, mantras, and we have some books on this. We collect these things just for reference. So we have books on yantra, tantra, mantra, and mantras to different demigoddesses, besides Durga, many other goddesses, so many for achieving results. So that could cross the line into black magic department. But it doesn't have to be. But like you said, the Kali thing, like India celebrates Kali Puja or whatever. They do a Saraswati Puja also. So it's all school children. They go around, collect donation, make Saraswati statue. It's kind of benign. It's Hindu. It's it's cultural. But the black magic people, they cross the line. And they go into the dark area. They mess around with Buddhas, Pretas, Pishachas, and the Muslim black magic devotees in ISKCON. They use the jinn. The jinn from the Muslim culture is the entities that they could use for doing their dirty work. So that's when the cultural thing now becomes black magic. When you go too far, you utilize these demonic entities to help you in achieving different results. So best thing is be discreet. We don't object to some Kali Puja or something in cultural sense, but if they're going to do dark arts with it, then you have gone too far. We try to avoid that.
Thank you for those answers, because often I think people can get confused in terms of what black magic is. I mean, I was kind of raised a Christian, nominally in Britain, and I went to a church in my teenage years, and it was certainly drummed into me that anything that wasn't of Christ, anything that was seen as black magic and demonic, and and actually you then read and research for yourself that things like palmistry, clairvoyance are not necessarily black magic. It really depends on what those things are being used for.
Well, you were raised in church, so they would say that you, being Hare Krishna, you've taken one demonic Hindu name, you changed your Christian name, you're worshiping Hindu idols, you are chanting incantations of the devil when you chant on your beads. Your own church people will say that about what you're doing now.
Yes, no, I mean, no one said that from my old church. No one said that to me directly, but I know they're thinking that, those that know I've converted to this Hindu sect.
Yeah, behind your back, they say, "Oh, have you heard what happened to Nathan? Nathan has gone off dark end. He fell off in the deep dark hole of Satan worship."
He used to be such a nice boy.
Oh, we thought he was going to become a preacher. Where have we gone wrong?
Okay. The next question is one that we might spend a bit of time on, because it might be one that a lot of our viewers are particularly tuned in for to hear the answer of. And the question is black magic still being practiced in ISKCON today? And if so, can you give examples?
Oh, I thought you were going to do the other question, which is the most important one after this one. Okay, well, yes.
Well, we can take that one. I don't mind. What do you feel most comfortable answering next? Because I know this is a really big topic.
Well, you're just asking, is it still practiced in ISKCON today? Well, yes, we're talking about it the whole time. If so, can you give us some examples? Well, I gave you some examples. Examples from Puerto Rico, example from Russia, examples from what other examples? India. So many examples. We know different persons. We know persons who in Western countries they have Bengali black magic devotee in temple. Of course, they're always ambitious, of course. They try to become the boss. They want to be known as big scholar. So what they do is they find when somebody knows too much about secrets of Bengali tantric, so these devotees become targeted. And even in Western country, they find cursed objects on their doorstep, outside their house, a certain corner of the house, in a certain direction, or something. That devotee I know in UK, he found a trident was buried in his garden. So somebody that he knows did black magic ritual and did curses on Shiva, trident, little metal trident thing, and put it in his garden. So these things are happening even in Western countries. These are a few examples. I know devotees who got the big curse put outside their house. What it is a small bottle That small bottle, maybe 4 or 5 centimeters tall, maybe 3 or 4 inches in imperial. A small bottle. Inside is some liquid, maybe some kind of oil, sesame seeds, and a little paper scroll rolled up in there. When you pull the scroll out, we have photos of all these things. We have photos because devotee had destroyed this cursed bottle. So inside was this scroll. When you unroll it, there's the grid. Do you know what is the tic-tac-toe? Tic-tac-toe lines, vertical and horizontal lines. So there's this kind of thing on the scroll inside bottle of oil, but in between the lines is characters in Arabic. Now you could find websites on Muslim black magic where they talk about these grid. The grid is like a homing device. It's like GPS locator or like Apple AirTag for the jinn. So the jinn sent by our ISKCON Mayapur beloved devotees, the jinn will go to where the grid is placed outside your house. So these things, the Arabic writing also proves that our Bengali devotees are using Muslim system with Arabic characters. So the story doesn't end there. After destroying that bottle and that scroll, devotee, this is wonderful devotee lady that we know personally. She went to Mayapur and asked around, and she found white tantric. So a devotee who removes curses. So she went to see if she could get clear from curses because she was having so many problems from the popular predator who's still prancing and posturing in front of devotees every day. So she's tormented so much, cannot eat anything, just vomiting blood. The doctors are puzzled. Man, we do not understand what's wrong with you. So she had so many health problems. So she said, I'm going to Mayapur, I'm going to Vrindavan, I'm going pilgrimage. So when she's in Mayapur, she asked around and found white tantric devotee to remove curses. So she pulled out her phone and showed a photo of that bottle with the scroll inside. And the white tantric devotee, he said, oh, this is very bad tantra, meant to kill you. So this was a confirmation of what we suspected, that this is very bad stuff. And she made a mistake by crossing, by not going along with what predator wanted. So the predators and tantrics are very, very envious. Anybody who says no to them, they only want to hear yes from the victims. Any victim says no, becomes punished, sent curses, objects put outside the door. We have a number of photos of other objects put outside the door. Do you remember in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita that some envious person, I forget the name, tried to smear Srivas Pandit by putting Kali worshipping things outside the door? I think that was not Kali worshipping things. I think it was some Kali, like cursed items or things you would do in a Kali puja to curse someone. I'm thinking that's what that was in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So that shows you how popular it was in Bengal. And here's another point to show you how popular in Bengal. Do you remember those very old black and white movies? Nimai of Nadia, and there was two of them, the black and white movies from 1940s or something. So in that first one, before Nimai is born in Bengal, the first 20 minutes of movie is all about the tantrics of Bengal. It shows you how ingrained in Bengali society the tantrics are. They're controlling everyone. They're doing their own thing. They want power. They want prestige. So 20 minutes of Nadia, Nimai of Nadia. First 20 minutes is about the tantrics. So that shows you how powerful in Bengal. So of course, when we make ISKCON movement in Bengal, of course the tantrics are going to be involved. they're going to get a position. They want to run the show. They want to control everyone. They want to pose as if learned Sadhu, giving class, being very, very nice, charitable, learned, charismatic person, but really doing the work of the tantrics. So the experience with Lady, she had. We could supply. I need to give you a link where we have all these photos. Photo essays are listed. We put everything there with a little blurb explaining, and also lists of different organizations to help our victims. And I need to give you those links.
Please do. That would be great. I can publish that with this podcast. A kind of another side question, because in a minute I'm going to answer my own question, but kind of a side question for you is: are there high-profile gurus in ISKCON today that are involved with or practitioners of black magic?
Yes, of course.
And in terms of the scale or the number, are we talking a 2, 10, 20, all of them?
Difficult to know exactly, because as you can understand, it's similar to like Masonic Lodge or Illuminati or secret alphabet organizations of governments. They don't talk about. We don't really know who's who, but we can say about leadership that for whatever the percentage is who's practicing, the rest of the percentage is complicit because they are knowing. They know about it, but they're thinking, well, I have my service. I don't want to lose my facility. So they have a pact. All of the good old boys clubs, as they say in the West, good old boys club, they have pact of silence. You don't reveal what you do, and you don't reveal what I do. Because as you saw in the Palika interview, they have dirt on each other. They stage photo sessions with victims to sign and seal the pacts of silence. Like you have to stay silent for a lifetime. Otherwise, we bring out these photos. So to answer your question, whatever percentage is practicing, the other percentage is complicit by knowing it.
Yeah.
Just like we said with Mayapur Swami, who was kicked out. How many hundreds of photos of leaders posing with him? How could they not know? Everyone in those photos must know. Right? Everybody in photo with me, they know what I do. Everyone in photo with you, they know you. So how could big leaders, intimate with Swami, they're hugging, they're putting their heads in each other's laps. There's such buddies, taking funny photos together. They're always in each other, so lovey-dovey, so many hugs. How could they not know? Of course they know. We're not accepting that. We're putting our foot down. Prabhupada's tolerance level is zero tolerance of predators, crooks, cheaters, Kali chelas. Prabhupada said, you seek them out and you should root them out. There's some purport, Chaitanya Charitamrita. He talks about the jealous persons in the dress of Vaishnavas should be completely neglected.
When so it's just to kind of give a bit of I don't know, background or context for today's podcast, is that this podcast has been about a month in the making. Before I was put in touch with you and your team, many of our viewers and listeners will know that I produced, this is what, podcast 93, podcast 85 with Dwalamukhi in the United States. We talked quite a bit about her experiences as a child in ISKCON, experiencing satanic ritual abuse. And it was after that podcast went out that this whole topic of black magic kind of, came across my desk. I suddenly start getting all these emails or messages from devotees in the UK and other parts of Europe, where they're giving me information about black magic being practiced. And I'm thinking, well, I've been in the Hare Krishna movement for 20 years. This is the first I've heard of it. So I after getting over the surprise, I start reading the information that's being sent to me. And certainly before today's podcast, I've spent a bit of time myself researching black magic. And in my limited research, I mean, I haven't had time to do much. In the UK, I think we've got 10 or 12 ISKCON temples. I've been given information that at least 3 of those temples, black magic is not necessarily being practiced on the property. I don't want anyone to misunderstand what I'm saying, but members of the congregation or members of the leadership or people linked with the leadership in those 3 temples are practicing black magic. And what was interesting is those 3 temples, the names came up several times of those temples, these were in different conversations. And the other thing that was really interesting is that one particular guru's name kept coming up in conversations I had with devotees. And that devotee didn't know I'd spoken to another devotee. And, you know, and it was kind of like, Narada, didn't you know he was doing more black magic? It was like, no, not really. I mean, I've been doing other stuff with my life. And so one particular name kept coming up in those conversations.
So you'll have to send that to us, please.
Yes.
But then you said you were inundated with many stories that were surprising. Our team would like to see all of those.
Definitely, I can send them over to you. I mean, inundated. Inundated. I didn't receive thousands, and it wasn't hundreds, but it was certainly quite a bit. And in reference to three temples. And what was really interesting, it was that in reference to one of the temples, 3 people mentioned it to me that someone linked with the leadership was doing black magic. And they mentioned it to me like, oh yeah, it's an everyday thing. And I'm thinking, is it? This is not an everyday thing where I come from, you know? So they said, oh yeah, this person does black magic. And I'm like, okay. So that was really interesting in terms of the research that I've done. Okay, so let's
talk. You said the 3 temples. Is that all UK?
Yes.
Oh.
I mean, I'm happy. I have no gripes about naming those temples. So, sorry, what was your question?
Isn't there only 3 temples?
No, there's about 12.
Oh, okay. But 3 have a prominent black magic presence.
Yeah.
Like everyday things.
At least 2 of them. At least 2 of the 3. I mean, I'm happy to name those temples. I don't know when all of my
your enemies might increase if you say them on the podcast.
I've got a number of enemies already. But your question, in at least 2 of those, and what was interesting, again, because I'm a naive Westerner from a white Western background, some devotees in ISKCON are saying to me, yeah, well, people in certain communities, like Indian communities or African communities, it's black magic's part of their culture. And I'm like, really? You know?
Yes.
I mean, the worst thing that, again, from a Christian background, the worst thing that my family ever did when I was a kid was my gran used to play the lottery. I mean, like gambling. I mean, that was like the worst thing, you know, £10 on a lottery ticket. Yeah, or play bingo down the church hall on a Friday night.
Not bingo.
And read the horoscopes in the newspaper, you know, about, oh, you're going to find love this week, you know, or you're going to trip up and sprain your ankle next week, that type of thing. I mean, nothing.
Horoscope, devil worship.
Oh no, more of it. So yeah, I mean, that's the kind of research that I was able to do and to find. Okay,
If you can do this research, anybody can. Any listener who thinks we're just crazy people babbling, anybody can research. You can find.
Maybe I should join your team. I don't know.
You already have.
It's one of the temples in the UK that had a particular person practicing black magic that was heavily involved with the temple at the time. He's not anymore, but he was at the time. I was able to speak to a number of people that knew him. People don't seem to know where he is now. He seems to have disappeared. And it was just really interesting, the same stories they were saying about this particular person. And yeah, I mean, again, I can pass that information on to you.
It's in writing?
No, it's in writing in
Okay.
terms of messages sent to me, but I can collate things and send them to you.
Yes, we do that all the time. We have conversations on Messenger or whatever. And
Yeah.
so we copy, and then dump it into another document.
Okay.
Straighten out the paragraphs, delete a redundant sentence or two. So we collect so many testimonies that way.
Okay. The next bit, and I think maybe it's the final bit we're going to talk about, because this is a very in-depth topic, is I want to talk about if people or devotees, if people feel that they are victims of black magic or black magic practice, what should they do? And for example, are there certain prayers or practices that they can do to protect themselves?
This is the real meat of the discussion here. This is the real essence. This is the objective. But first, before saying what you should do, I will mention what we should not do. Don't go to any devotee or friend of devotee that's saying, I can clear you of black magic curses. This is the first thing not to do. Do you know why? Can you guess?
Because they might be lying or fibbing or trying to lure you into a
Because
false
the
sense of
persons who have because those who have knowledge to remove curses also have knowledge to put curses, if that's what the client is paying for. Knowledge of one side is knowledge of the other. So we cannot trust them. There might be a white tantric real thing. I don't know, but it's very difficult to vet them, because if they know the dark side, how to cure dark side, they know how to cause the dark side. So that's what not to do. Don't go to any Ghostbuster. Yeah, we forgot to mention the history of ghost busting. This ties into the last question. The ghost busting introduced in Mayapur, Gaur Purnima, 1991. Was it 91 or 1990? The ghost busting first became popular. One particular disciple there, if we say his name, he will put extra curses in our direction. So, just kidding. We are protected. So the ghost busting was introduced by persons who eventually went on a world tour, doing many ghost bustings for devotees, charging nice fee, going on a world tour, collecting lots and lots of money. But like I said, same person who busts the ghosts can also put the ghosts. So these kind of persons cannot be trusted. When it's introduced in Mayapur, Gaur Purnima 91, it was popular with gurus. Some guru, Hare Krishna, he said, "Oh, I got ghost busted. I feel so much lighter. Yeah, I've had some problems, but now the problem's gone." But as we see from Hare Krishna's history, his problems were not gone. They got only worse. So what is this ghost busting with gurus? Can a guru be haunted? That was an essay. You know this PATA, P-A-T-A, the Prabhupada Anti-Defamation Association, Puranjan Das, Tim Lee. He put out in the 1990s a nice stapled paper that he mailed everywhere called Haunted Gurus? Question mark. So that's where he put the history of the 1991 ghost busting. So he's saying, can a guru be haunted? Can an actual spiritual master be haunted by ghosts? How's that possible? So you're representative of disciplic succession having ghosts? I don't think so. So that can be looked into, the ghost busting stuff. There might be some reports online of innocent descriptions. But now that you know too much about this topic, you know what's behind the scenes. So you can see if they're presenting ghost busting on the surface, then there's something else underneath it. There's some sinister agenda. If a client wants to pay money to do a certain other type of thing, that same Ghostbuster will do it. Right? They're just in business. They learn their art. perhaps from, father, grandfather. It's a multi-generational tantric thing. That's what's in West Bengal. So that's Ghostbusting in 1991. And okay, protection. That's what not to do. What to do is all of these demonic things happening to devotees caused by these demonic persons. These are all our best friends. These calamities, first of all, you cannot have the calamity unless it's already your karma, right? So if someone feels they're cursed and then some terrible thing happens, who's in the middle of that? The person themselves. So Krishna doesn't give us anything that we did not already destined to receive. So that's the first thing. We own our karma, whether it happens by just stub your toe on the chair, or crashing in the car, or cutting the finger with the knife in the kitchen. Krishna minimizes our karma, so we're grateful, but we happily accept our karma. So we have some black magic problem. First, own it. We are owning our karma problem. And number two is that nobody cannot do anything unless Lord allows it, because Krishna says, Bhagavad Gita, all the benediction of demigods given by me alone. Right? Krishna, he allows demigods to give benediction or curse. So these demons are our best friend because they make us get closer to our deity. They make us ripen our Krishna consciousness. Right? You take more shelter of your lords, you pray, you hear Srila Prabhupada, you maybe do some little thing like chant Nishringa Kavacha, or you put the Kavacha on the armband or the neck, or you chant the Nishringa Sahasranam, or 108 names, or these kind of things. Basic protection. We also have some credible pujaris who do very nice homa, special sacrifice to Lord Nishringa. You could do one of those. The main thing is it makes you feel better. But you have to have real pujari, not pujari who also knows the dark side. We need to avoid them because many of the pujari persons who learn many things. I saw one testimony I saw from somewhere in UK, I think, some black magic pujari type person who does marriage ceremony, blessing children, fire sacrifice, but whole room full of black magic books and paraphernalia. So some of these pujaris you cannot trust. We personally know some of the good pujari who can do clearing ritual. They may or may not be absolutely necessary, but it makes us feel better. You sit in the puja, they're chanting a mantra, and you just feel good. So feeling good is part of it too. One good item of protection is knowing, because they're using Muslim system mostly on us, unless you're in Malaysia or Russia or South America. So the Muslim literature itself that we have studied because of the Muslim black magic problem in ISKCON, the Muslim literature itself says that spell is weakened by simply knowing about it. If you, in other words, if you don't know what's happening to you, then you suffer more. But if you know, let's see, this Indian man doesn't like me at all. Now I'm having this terrible problem. So he's probably doing, look, he put something on my doorsteps. Oh, okay, I know what's happening now. So when you know what's happening, the spell is reduced. So that's a type of protection, knowing that first, Krishna minimizes our karma, and two, by knowing that it is a curse, you reduce it. And three, most importantly, we become closer to your deity. We become more Krishna conscious. We understand that our real protection is Krishna. We got lotus feet. We got Radharani lotus feet. We have Lord Nityananda. My goodness, how much protection do we have? We have so much protection. We have Sudarshan Chakra on our side. Because we have so much protection, we know that the literature also states that whoever does the black magic it comes around to bite them. It goes around, comes around. It backfires. It bites them in the butt. So these men think they're so smart, men and women. You know, there's women doing black magic too. We have a number of testimonies. So they think they're so smart. Oh, I know this secret thing. I will mess up this other person who I don't like. They think they're so smart, but they cannot beat the laws of nature. If they're smart to know how to do the curse, they should be smart to know that the curse comes back to them, right? So, but they're blinded. They're blinded by different levels of ignorance. We've understood it, that the black magic devotee, quote devotee, unquote, they know what they're doing when they curse us. And sometimes some of us know what's happening. So the practitioner, they sometimes know that we know. So they try to attack us more. But there's another level. They're not allowed to know that we know that they know. Is that making sense? That they can know that we know we're being cursed by them. But they're not allowed to know that we know that they know. So this is super soul. Super soul works by giving us extra level of functioning and awareness. So in other words, the Vaishnava is always never defeated. Kolteya pratijanihi nami bhakta pradashyati. Declare it boldly. My devotees never perish. Perish, vanquish, you know the verse. So this is all part of the great battle of darkness and light. Just like all of these sci-fi movies, right? Every movie, every novel is a great battle of darkness and light. Evil people and the good people. Yeah, the Krishna book is full of it. Every good Krishna story needs a demon, and every ISKCON needs villains, right? Without villains, I mean, even Disney cartoon movie for children, they all have villains. Every big cartoon movie needs villain, right? So why is that? And the villain becomes more famous. That they make costumes and posters and paraphernalia about the villain of Disney movie. There's so many of them. Like there's Cruella and Ursula, another. Just so many of those demons in the movies. Harry Potter series. Everybody likes the demon guys. So every good story needs villain. Every good Krishna book story needs demon, and every good ISKCON movement needs demon pretender Kali Chelas. We need our Kali Chelas because they're part of the plan, just like the Kurukshetra. You need opposing army to show the glory of devotees. And what does opposing army in Kurukshetra? What do they get? They can choose. You can have Lord Krishna, or you can have his army. So what did they choose? Who was that? Duryodhana? All these Mahabharat. He said, "Oh, I will take the army," because the demons think that they will win by having the big army. But Arjuna, he gets Krishna. So that's what we're having right now. Our ISKCON demons, they have big money, big facility, big black magic department on the payroll. They can accomplish many different things by getting stuff and also by harming others who know too much. So they have all the big stuff. They have Krishna's army. So guess what we have? We have the blue boy, and this is the month of Damodar. So it's interesting that we're having this discussion so that the Kartik Shakti can increase this awareness of problem. You know, everything's multiplied. You multiply your bhakti. So we're talking about the negativity that plagues pro-black movement. This also multiplies. More devotees become aware. They've learned to recognize red flags of predators, red flags of tantric practitioner, red flags of pretending narcissists, sociopath leaders. So all this expands in Kartik.
Can I pick up pick up on some of the things that you've mentioned.
Yes.
You mentioned just now about temples having black magic departments. Is
Yes.
that, I mean, do they literally have a sign on the door saying black magic department, or is it a bit more kind of
No,
incognito?
no, they have office, they have computers, they have devotees working at terminals, they're monitoring websites, they're tracking Facebook conversations, other social media. Anybody criticizing the popular predators, they're being tracked. They're collecting their statements. They're doing active persecutions. And yeah, they have computers, they have staff, they have devotees, they have a fire sacrifice department for doing rituals. They have other paraphernalia is collected for putting on devotees' doorstep and all these kind of things. Yes, department.
And
But
I
no,
mean,
there's no sign on the door.
and is this, just in India, or have you discovered these departments outside of India as well?
Well, our team, since we're based in India, so we're mostly studying Indian temple because how it expanded from Mayapur since 1971. That is the most powerful department in ISKCON. But other temples also have department, or it might be at the home, like in Fiji. Fiji probably not have department at temple, but they have somebody's home where the other persons gather to see who do we need to hit this week. Just we want to do some land acquisitions happening by black magic in Fiji. So they have to get together at somebody's house. Okay, who are we going to hit? Who's going to do the ritual? You got the wood for the fire sacrifice. Who's going to chant the mantras? So those things have to be organized. But probably not a big department. Bigger temples like ISKCON and Chopati and these kind of temples have bigger office space in temple for these activities.
Thank you for your answer. And then the other thing I wanted to pick up on, you mentioned about how things that happen to us are our karma anyway. So, for example, I'm producing this podcast, and if something bad happens to me next week because I'm producing this podcast on this particular topic, could I then conclude it's my karma anyway that happens to me?
You are going to have to understand that with your own lordships. Another person, me, we cannot answer.
Okay.
You have to work it out. You have to take your chance. You're recording this. You can make a decision. Do not publish, or you can have fear. Oh, something bad will happen. And if something bad happens, can you say it's from this? We do not know.
I believe very strongly that fear is a choice, and it's actually my experiences within the Hare Krishna movement that have reinforced that over the last couple of years. Fear is a choice where we can choose to be fearful of something, or we can just choose not to.
We were discussing that recently on social media about coronavirus, people who died from corona. One member had an experience that a bird was stuck in the house, flying around, and the bird didn't hit its head on the window, but it was panicking, and it just sat on the windowsill and died. So by that the person understood that a living entity could literally scare itself to death. So we were thinking that during coronavirus, a lot of the people, they just catch the flu. But because all the media is saying, deadly virus, deadly virus, deadly virus. So the persons are terrified. And then they go in hospital, and all these nurses and doctors panicking. Oh, I'm doomed. Oh, I've caught the terrible corona. Krishna, Krishna. So they literally scared themselves to death. That's a theory we were discussing. People can actually, because you can scare yourself into a heart attack. Many people die from heart attacks just from some surprise or some terrible calamity or losing job or whatever. So we think that So similarly, to answer your question, people could get themselves into calamities just by thinking. Even in all this new age woo-woo philosophy, they say energy flows wherever your mind goes. In other words, wherever your mind goes, that's where the energy flows.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't read it. I haven't read such studies, but I would make an assumption there are studies or research that exists that show that people that live into their 90s, they're generally positive people. You know, their mental health is good. They always think positively. You know, when they got to 75 and retired, they didn't just sit at home watching the TV. They actually spent 30 more years being positive out and doing stuff. So I agree with you certainly on that one.
Yes, we read a study on centenarians, people reaching 100 years. They did a study. What do they have in common? They found one thing that's significant. They found people living 100 or more, they have the ability to handle change.
Wow.
They don't get bent out of shape when things change, lose a job, or a spouse dies, or calamities in life, whatever. So the ability to rolling with the punches, it gives them the ability to live beyond 100.
Fascinating. I need to look into
There was a study. We need to look that up. But I read reading about that years ago.
In terms of, a lot of people will be watching this or will watch this podcast or listen to this podcast that may want to find out more, and in particularly that might be people that are victims of black magic. Where can people go to for support and advice to connect with people like yourself and members of your team in Mayapur?
We are working on our presence and electronic availability. I said we have the Outlook, Mayapur Predator Investigation at Outlook.com. We have that one, and we have a few more things. We have a few members are sticking their neck out and getting independent emails. And there's some support groups also, So we're working on the presence so that more person, you see, we've been swamped with just the devotee that we know personally. Because without seeking it, many persons have come to us. Somehow they sense, maybe from Krishna in the heart, that, I have this terrible problem with Predator in ISKCON. I have this problem with black magic, but I don't know what to do. So somehow they come to some of our members. They say something, and then the member says, I know a little bit about that. We don't know a whole lot about it because it is very guarded and secret. But we're working on more of a presence. Perhaps before you post this, we'll give some more contacts. But if we give contact, let your listeners know we're not accepting any type of attack or defamation or threats or being told that we're liars or blah, 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 blah. We have zero tolerance. We're for supporting the victims. We're advocates for victims. We are hunting the predators. Now the predators have become the prey. Isn't that amazing how the tables have turned? So we're hunting the predators, and they're scrambling to keep themselves in power. And yes, we'll have some contacts, and we'll see where it goes. We've been debating about Facebook pages, either for Predator Investigation Team Alliance or separate pages for various predators. We're also putting all of the CPO documents. Do you remember Krishna'sChildren.org? Krishna's Children, they had the website that was taken down, but they had all of the documents from CPO up to a certain date. So we have all of those. So we're going to repost them. So we'll have a site, some cloud or something. We will post all those. Those are available because some of those predators are coming back. Some are hanging around. Some are making a comeback in ISKCON, so that people need to see the CPO document. Even though, like we said earlier, CPO has been kind of ineffective. pathetic performance. But still, they did some work. We have lots of documents on various predators. So we'll give you a link also for where those are posted. And we'll also have more information on other predators, popular predators who still have not been identified. But we know them. We know multiple victims. These things will be posted. We'll see what we could gather up by the weekend.
I mean, certainly, we can work out offline, whether I publish an email address or whether there's some other way for people to get in touch with your investigation team.
But we were planning on giving you something to put in the video description.
Yeah,
because we can't just drop this many Easter eggs on people. We can't unload this amount of toxic crap and then not have any way to follow up with persons who feel distressed. Because you know what? I'll tell you the truth. Most of us in the investigation team alliance, we are victims of either predators or black magic, tantrics, or both. So we're all victims here. We're not like a child protection office that's run by persons who are not victims, right? So how much understanding do they have? But you might have, for example, some woman who was raped. So then she makes clearinghouse for raped women. So she helps other victims because she has the experience. So similarly, us in our current version of the Team Alliance, we're all victims here. So, and we're speaking for ourselves and our friends also who these things have happened to. So one of the reasons we even think Krishna is letting us have these experiences of these torments of being victimized by the popular sexual predators and by the popular black magic tantric predators. We have this experience with knowledge. We're learning what's happening because that puts us in position to help others who don't know what's happening to them. So we're suffering our own karma. Okay, we own it. But we're also put in a position to help others, like Paraduki, Vaishnava, Parasukasuki. So others who don't know what's happening, they're suffering, we can help. That's why we want to put out some resources. But as you can tell from social media, saying anything hot topic is immediately going to be trolled, attacked, reported, this and that. We may have sites taken down over and over and over, but we're just going to try and do something. We're a bit disorganized because we are victims, so our psychology has been, crippled.
Yeah, I can understand that.
That's why most of our victims that we know have not and will not write their story. Even though maybe it could help the greater cause if we had all of the testimonies in writing. But the simple psychology is that we don't want to write our story. We can't relive it. Even speaking about it is traumatizing. Every cell in our body cringes when we start talking about the look on our predator's face when they're right in our face. Oh God, I'm having a panic attack just saying that sentence. So what to speak of the little girls that were molested? They can't. A lot of them, they're in their 40s now. They're moms. They can't talk about it. They don't even want to think about it. They want to get on with their own life. So it's a very sticky thing, but we're going to try to do something. So maybe if we stick our neck out and only get two victims that we help, then it is success. Even one person. Like Bhakti Siddhanta said, if he could get one person to love Krishna, his mission is success. So we'll see that too. If we could find one victim of popular predator who's considered crazy, who's blackballed everywhere they go, we can get them some comfort, some counseling, then success. Krishna.
Thank you for that. I do really appreciate it, and I agree with what you've said, and I have no doubt that when this podcast is broadcast, there will be a lot of people getting in touch. I mean, for me, the last 4 weeks of people getting in touch with me without me going public about this particular topic has been in, I mean, it hasn't been a lot, like I said, hundreds, but it's been quite a few. And so there is that underground information that needs to be obtained and collated, and there are victims out there that kind of need to be helped.
Yes.
Is there anything else you particularly want to share with our viewers or our listeners on this topic of black magic in ISKCON?
When we talk to different persons, one of our goals is to awaken in a person the natural radar to recognize red flags. Because all narcissists, sociopaths, and predators, they don't have red flags we can learn to recognize. And some of them are super slick. When people find out way down the road that this was predator, they're totally shocked. Oh, the pillar of the community. Even in churches, when they find out church man, he's deacon, nice family, upstanding, or community service, they find out after 15 years he's a predator. So everyone is shocked. Wow, we were fooled. So that's one level of predator. The super slick that are not. But what we're trying to do with our acquaintances who are victims, or even not victims, just anybody who wants to be thoughtful and observant and to know what is what. Recognize what I call the low-hanging fruit. The predators that are easy to recognize. The sociopaths and narcissists, they're so easy to spot. You could spot them in second flat. But you have to develop the radar. Otherwise, we're totally fooled. If just like ISKCON 1960s, 70s, 80s, so many sannyasis fell down, right? So Srila Prabhupada, he stopped giving sannyas at some point. He said, what is the use? They were all falling down. No more sannyas from this point. So, but guess what? Each of those persons gave great class, was super charismatic, friendly, encouraging, gave good Krishna conscious counsel, made devotees, good kirtans. So they had, nobody saw any warning signs, no red flag. So they were all wonderful persons. So that's one type of sociopath. So the other type is super obvious. We'll just say that they always try to be the boss. They want to get power. They use their knowledge and wisdom, giving big class. But really, if you listen behind the words, the class is not teaching Krishna consciousness. It is teaching, listen to me. Listen to how much I know that you do not know. You do not know all of this. I am speaking so much good stuff you've never heard. Isn't my class amazing? This is what's behind the words. Just like to help you with that, we have one Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati story. There was the Kirtan group was there, and the Bhakti Siddhanta devotees. Oh, listen to this amazing Kirtan group! Isn't this a fabulous Kirtan? Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati he said, "Oh, you hear the Maha Mantra? All I hear is taka taka taka. Taka means rupee in Bengal. So you're hearing Hare Krishna Kirtan from Prakrita Sahaja. I am hearing rupee, rupee, rupee." So in that way, if we develop red flag sensibility, then we'll see the person speaking big knowledge, but only to prove how great they are. Seeking self-congratulation, honoring, position. One thing that the predators do a lot these days, getting away with, is talking, no matter if they wear white or they wear saffron or if they're sannyasi, they're all trying to make friends with the women. They're trying to talk to women, making effort, learning women's name, going around, getting women's face. Oh, good to see you. So thanks for coming to temple. So there's red flag there. Person, especially renunciate, who's always trying to make friends with ladies, big red flag. Possible predator, trying to get in with children, of course, super red flag. We don't have to describe that one. Friends with children. But the main thing is sociopath, uh, sociopath predator. They want to be the boss. Want to take charge of humble devotees. Oh, this movement, sociopath playground, sandbox for sociopaths. With all these humble devotees, all I have to do is pretend that I'm big, then tell everyone what to do. Very nice program. So like this, we're trying to awaken in devotees their own radar to see what's in front of them. For example, once I was standing in line for prasadam at Sunday feast. So a predator that I know, an older man, gray hair, he gets in line right next to two teenage girls. And so he's talking, strikes up conversation, talking to teenage girls, making them laugh, asking personal questions so they talk about themselves. And so here I am. I'm in line, and I'm look to my left, to my right. There's devotees everywhere. Nobody sees a thing. Nobody says a thing. And here's this lusty man, like leaning forward with that predator smile. You know what I mean? Ugh, gives me the creeps thinking about it. So he's leaning towards the two teenage girls, chatting, talking, laughing, and no one sees a thing. No one says a thing. So that's just an example that if you're awakened to seeing that, you will see those kind of things everywhere, which is it's really sad. And who can handle that? If every time you go to the temple and you're seeing some predator snooping around, acting inappropriate, you can actually see that thing every day. So who can handle that? You need a little bit. You need some Kshatriya DNA. Kshatriya DNA is needed to do this kind of work because Krishna wants this to be exposed now. This is the time for knowledge of predators and knowledge of predator enablers, knowledge of black magic enablers to come out in the open. Their lordships are wanting it right now. We are doing our little part, even though we're like I said, psychologically crippled, barely able to function in the human world of 3D because of our terrible experiences. But we're trying to do something for fellow victims. Only fellow victims understand other victims, right? We don't, just like you go to, say, model airplane, radio control airplane club. They all understand radio control airplanes. You're all on the same page, right? You got this kind of controller. It's working on this such and such frequency to turn the flaps. You know, at any meeting you go to, you're on the same page with those persons. So advocating for predator victims is best done by other victims. But it's tricky because, like I said, victims are kind of limping on with crutches, one leg, crutches, maybe some fingers are missing. They're definitely kind of smashed. But we hope to get some more help organizing, making presentation, putting websites up. Maybe knowledgeable persons in your viewership going to help us to push this forward. Help the devotees. You know why?
Absolutely.
Because Krishna says that this person is very dear to me, that person is very dear, but the ones who explains supreme secret to devotees is very, very dear. He is giving two varies, very, very dear to me. So we're trying to be in that category. Being dear to Krishna is not enough. We are trying to be very, very dear.
It's been, I've really appreciated your time on this podcast.
My goodness, how long has it been?
You know, we can talk more if you want to. We've been talking for quite a while. I was aware that I was very late in India, and it's
we're 5.5 hours ahead of UK.
It's getting quite late in the UK. I
I'm
mean,
so sleepy.
is there anything else you would like to share that is important? We will work out into those email addresses, how people can get in touch with your team, whether that's directly or through another means. We will make sure, because what always happens after every podcast, people always get in touch with me, either to say that they think the guest is crazy, or I'm crazy, or the guest is great, or Narada, you're great. It's a mix of everything. And and those are on the smaller topics that might not get a lot of airtime. So on this type of topic, I know we're going to get a lot of correspondence, and we need to work out how we, no pun intended, how we channel that, how we channel that to your investigation team.
We still give you your full independent free will. You could sleep on it and decide to not publish this. If you decide to publish it, you have to be, as the Christians say, you got to be all prayed up. You got to be ready to handle the crap when it comes your way, and be ready to point the sincere persons in the right direction. So you have to consider publish it or not.
Well, if people are listening to this, it means that I made the decision this podcast would be published. And if they're not,
not to publish it, you can still make it available by a link on your sites. You could say, here's a podcast I didn't put on my channel. It's pretty hot, but if you think you can handle it, click here.
It's I mean, before I say goodbye to people,
to them,
to they them, is there anything else you want to contribute? Because I know this is a really big topic, and I know that this is, a really important issue. Anything else you want to contribute before we stop recording?
Look at my notes. You had your list of questions. I don't know. It's late. I'm pretty burned out.
Okay.
We covered it all, unless you're thinking other things.
No, not at all. I just wanted to make sure that we absolutely covered everything, because this is a very rare, it's taken 93 episodes to get to black magic. And it might be another 93 before we discuss it again. I don't know.
I'll share one anecdote from the great soul who used to run the website krishnaschildren.org. He made several videos that are still on YouTube. What's it called? The cost of silence.
Cost of silence, yeah.
Yes. So he told me personally, because I said, why did you get rid of the website? And he told me there was some specific threats. But the main thing he told me, he said, I needed to apologize for hurting devotees, because so many devotees were harmed when they learned about persons they respected as being predators. So he was upset that he hurt the feelings of many, many devotees. So following that, I would also like to say, anybody whose feelings are harmed or felt by hearing all of these chattering on this episode, if their faith in certain persons is harmed or shattered or destroyed, or they feel that their heart of bhakti has been deceived all these years by adoring some predator type person, then we have to apologize for hurting their feelings. But it's all for the good. When you have to cut out a boil, the surgeon takes his sharp knife and cuts out the boil, and it hurts. We've had that experience. Those kind of things. The surgeon cuts and it hurts. So if we expose predators and upsetting devotees who had some misplaced faith, or as Doktorsky says in his books, deranged devotion, then I apologize for hurting their feelings. But each individually has to look in their own heart and get with their own deities. Is it for my own higher good that my faith in the secret predator is now shattered? So that is our prayer, that everyone get the highest benefit from this terrible flood of negative knowledge. And calling it that, I would say that a great verse is Isha mantra 11. Vidyam cha vidyam cha yash tadvidobhyam saha avidyayam ritam dirpa vidyam ritamashmute. Only one who knows the science of nescience and transcendence side by side can transcend this world of duality and taste the nectar of immortality. Now that verse, the Ashnute, it's Prabhupada rendered it as what do you say? To experience the nectar. What Ashnute literally means to taste or eat taste the nectar of immortality. So, in order to attain actual Krishna consciousness and leave this world, we have to learn all the great transcendence, nectar, and we have to learn all the negative nescience crap. All the BS has to be under our belt. We have to have a grip on it, a handle. Devotees, they'll put their fingers in ears. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Don't tell me about so-and-so. I think he gives great classes. So they need to know nescience and transcendence side by side. Vidyam cha avidyam cha, yes. Vidya and avidya. So the terrible negative podcast here from beginning to end, and it's probably going to sicken somebody, but you have to know the nescience side by side. That's the main thing. So that's the only reason we say negative things, expose stuff, because Upanishad mantra 11. Read it every day. That's why we follow the news now. We used to not follow the news, material world news, but to know what's going on, Srila Prabhupada knew the headlines, basically. He knew about Mr. Nixon, president of the USA. You could say in class, Mr. Nixon this, Mr. Nixon that. So following the news, basically, is also part of avidya, knowing what's going on, and giving it the Vedic viewpoint. So we're giving the Vedic viewpoint on black magic, on sex predators, predators of children, predators of women, and predators of men too. Yes. Men can also be victims. We have a number of those in our network.
Thank you for giving up your time. Thank you for sharing everything that you have shared. I'm gonna, I think, stop the recording now. Thank you to those of you that have tuned in to watch episode 93 of the Hare Krishna Project podcast. Whether you're watching it on YouTube or Facebook, I really appreciate you tuning into this very special episode. Until next week, I'll see you all soon. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.